Okay, welcome, whoever is on this live stream right now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between. Welcome to our 26th episode of the new You Talkshow. This is a show that promises incredible content with credible people. My name is Frederick, and joining me is Nick Isaac. Okay, so this evening, we delve into the world of Neurolinguistic Programming, or NLP for short, and we explore one of the most, commonly used techniques in the field of coaching and personal development because it's a game changer. So before we get started, what gives us the audacity, right, to talk about NLP here? All right, so your host right here, all right, is a dual certified NLP practitioner and master Enneagram executive coach. It's not a single certification, but a double certification, which means, if you think of it as a single degree, but, not a single degree, but attaining a double degree, two at one go. Anyway, also for 3 years after my certification, I co-facilitated and coached clients, or rather hundreds of clients in self-development settings, programs, and workshop. And all of them came from all walks of life, people from financial advisory, property agents, investors, MNCs, SMEs, and many more. So in addition to that, that was how I received my chartered management consultant. And I have been integrating all of these in my work in astrology and coaching with clients. So I must say that these are not possible without first mastering and living the technique of NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming. So why am I talking about NLP tonight, or why are we talking about that tonight? A large part of this set of techniques are what I use in my consultation, and of course Nick as well, and in our coaching with people, especially in the people that I help. And I am feeling generous and excited to share these techniques alongside with Nick and alongside with all of you tonight. So what about you, Nick? I mean, what gave you the audacity to talk about NLP?
Okay, maybe I can begin the whole about today talk show, right? Maybe Frederick, as a NLP practitioner, I will just say that, can you maybe just explain to the people who are online what is actually NLP actually means for, and what does it stand for? Yeah, I'll ask more question about that since you are already more
Hey, don't play the humble pie, Nick. Hey, anyway, for the benefit of those who just came in or maybe just joined us, NLP for short is actually a longer form. The longer form would be Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So what does NLP mean? NLP has been existing for decades now. I think it started way in the 70s, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
It started with Richard Bandler. And of course, John Grinder and Richard Bandler were the ones who actually propagate and started the whole entire thing. But the whole idea of NLP begins way back. In fact, it wasn't NLP, it was something else. All right, it is actually an old technique that has been brought forth by John Grinder and Richard Bandler. And they were the first generation of NLP leaders, thought leaders in this field of NLP. So you're talking about NLP, people will think about, John Grinder, Richard Bandler and all that. They were what we call pioneers of NLP. What does NLP do? Very simple. You know your brain, right? Okay, you know what brainwashing is? You know what brainwashing is? This one is not brainwashing. This one means taking out your brain, okay? Not surgically, of course, but removing or taking out your brain, okay? And when you take out your brain, you examine all the sites that you do not want, wash it in some kind of a special water. It is a technique, NLP water, and then you put the brains back into your head and live a transformed and renewed life. So this is what it means.
Okay, how do you process information through your senses? Is it by the neo side?
How do I perceive information?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so this is what we call meta-programming. In NLP, this is what we call meta-programming. What does it mean? It means that all our lives, when we are living our lives, okay, from young all the way to the time when we are adults, we are being programmed, so to speak, because when we live our life stories, every single phase of our lives, we are faced with issues, we are faced with positive news, we are faced with a lot of criticisms as well, all good and bad, and the ugly. Okay, so throughout the life that we are living, we go through what we call different life stages and different transformation, different phase in our lives that we had to take in information. And these information that we take in includes criticisms, includes feedbacks, includes failures, setbacks, and even successes. And throughout all this time of our living life, our brains unconsciously, filter information into the back of our head. Okay, that is like our long-term memory. So at our back of our head, where we have all those information that your brain has automatically filtered, and these automation exist not because you are born with it, but also because of the surrounding, the environment that you are in. It affects how your brain takes in the information. And when we take in a lot of negative information because of the negative environment that we surround ourselves in, that is when we start to accumulate negative information about ourselves. And most importantly, when we accumulate all this negative information about ourselves, that is how we start experiencing different ways of how we talk to ourselves. And it's a different self-talk. And the way we self-talk, we talk to ourselves, the way we tell ourselves who we are, what we do, and the things that we are manifesting is going to be different. And when that happens, some people get positive results, some people don't, because of this meta programming that we go through in our lives. And that's the reason why NLP exists, and that's the reason why the technique exists, to sort of help us unravel whatever information that we have actually gone through in our lives, and then make a shift of this mindset from negative to positive. But of course, I wouldn't say negative to positive here, but to make it simpler for everyone is, to transform a mindset from one state to another state that we want. Because what we have right now, the current state, may not be the state that we want to achieve. And so NLP helps us to achieve that particular outcome, that particular state, or in Anthony Robbins' term, the peak state, is to achieve the peak state or the outcome that we really want to achieve from the current state, which is not what we want. So NLP helps us to do just that by simply taking out your brain, washing it with holy water, NLP water, and then putting your brains back. So that is the whole entire gist of it. Yes, Rukhsana, you missed the first part. Not really. We just started, and we were just introducing about NLP, what NLP is, for the benefit of some of us here who wants a clearer information of what NLP really does and what NLP can do to our lives to transform the way we live and do our work as well. And yeah, and that's one very, very interesting thing about NLP, which I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but most techniques, out of all techniques in NLP, the most commonly used one is reframing. So Nick, that's the reason why we chose the title today, and it's called reframing. So Nick, any idea what reframing is? Maybe you can talk about it.
Okay, sometimes when we talk about reframing, right, sometimes we use certain words. Those certain words actually project negativity. So instead of using that particular words, we will have to change the particular words into something positive so that it apply on our mind. For example, I'm very stubborn to do my work now. I'm only lazy now. Or maybe I should just say that push to be anyway is, I think I should do this better. So the words, using a positive words apply, it helps you to think wisely, and then as well as to give you a positive mind. For example, NLP, right, can be applied in many films, for example, like sports, even to businesses, even music to childbirth. Okay, so basically, right, NLP have been far-reaching. For example, it helps to resolve your anxiety and negative feelings. That's why using the reframing some of the words helps a lot. Okay, and also applying the NLP, right, it helps to overcome some phobia. And then the way of you doing your own public speaking, give you some solutions in terms of your resolutions. Also helps to think wisely in terms of how we think, in terms of our health, to be from a negative to become a positive. So that's why we talk about reframing and applying the NLP. It helps us to control our mind of thinking to better health. Okay, and also, right, NLP helps developing in terms of your own management as well as your leadership skills, and in terms of having a very healthy relationship. Frederick, what other things that this NLP can be used, or what can it helps in terms of people who actually apply NLP? Or what technique do you think that is better to apply this NLP?
It really depends on the needs. It really depends on the needs of an individual. Like, for example, in career development, right? When people are dealing with setbacks, when people are dealing with failures, for example, even in businesses, because a lot of businesses really do fail. And when business do fail, sometimes it can actually trigger a lot of negative emotion and response in a person's mind. And, even the best business leaders, right? Even the best business leaders, the most successful ones, they will have times when they are tempted in that kind of situation where they fail, or maybe they receive some negative feedback or some setbacks in their career, in their business career or entrepreneurship career, they will have that kind of tendency or the temptation to actually, let these thoughts seep into them. And guess what? I mean, sometimes it affects their state. And when that affects their state, it's not the end of them, but it somehow became a ripple effect. It becomes a ripple effect that can actually affect their mood the entire day. And I have that sort of experience myself as well. And negative feedbacks do affect me too. We are humans at the end of the day. So the first thing is about dealing with setbacks and failures. That's what a lot of us do face. And NLP is something that helps to guide us back onto the right path. And that is one set of technique that's useful to guide us back into the right path. Another thing is about self-doubt. It's about self-communication, is how we communicate to ourselves. That's one very common barrier, which I feel in terms of career growth, because a lot of us, when we want to advance in our career, we find that it's not something that we feel like we are of a great fit, or sometimes we feel that we are just not good enough for the career, we're not good enough for the job, we're not good enough for whatever that we thought of, doing. Because sometimes we think twice, hey, am I good enough for this role? Am I good enough for this task? And that kind of affects us being indecisive as to what we want to do. And yeah, the rest is going to be history. Yeah, exactly. So that's the imposter syndrome, like what Eunice said. Yeah, and I agree with Eunice, because imposter syndrome comes about when we want to be who we think we aspire to be. It's not who we aspire to be, it's who we think we can become. That's the imposter syndrome. That is when we want to be someone else that we are not. So guys, a lot of times, some entrepreneurs and some business people, I know you want to be like somebody else, okay? I know you want to be like as successful as Tony Robbins, for example, as successful with Robert Kiyosaki, for example. You want to model you like to model their strategies and their way of life. Like, you like to model the way they talk, you like to model the way they behave. Like, Anthony Robbins, for sure, I can't do it because he keeps banging his chest. I feel very painful after that. I can't. Some people think about NLP being techniques like modeling. Yes, I get it. NLP talks about modeling. And I believe every one of you here has already understand what modeling is. Model the right behavior, model the right stuff, but I would say model the right techniques, because when you're modeling the right techniques and strategies of successful people, I think that is the main G's and the main strategy in NLP. I think that's the main message here, because people mistook NLP as a set of technique for like what Eunice said, imposter syndrome, like imitating people, whereby you are imitating the wrong things, like what coffee they like to drink. Or what kind of behavior that they are doing, or what kind of car they're driving. No, it's not that, because a lot of people mistook that. That is one thing. And also another final thing that I could actually think of for people who may need NLP, it's probably people who are going through some kind of a negative perception of certain feedback that they are getting. It's like a chicken and egg. Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking it's just like a chicken and egg kind of thing. Because the person giving you feedback may not be skilled in giving feedback to you. Right, Nick? There's some people with lesser form of emotional intelligence may not be able to give the right feedback. They may give unconstructive feedback, which may not be of great value to you, but they are straight to the point. Yeah, which is quite cool, right? They're straight to the point, but it doesn't serve a purpose of edifying a person, because we want to edify a person to speak the truth with love, but at the same time, be constructive about that. So it's a chicken and egg and also double-edged kind of thing scenario, where when people giving feedback is important, but how they give it is also how you perceive it at the end of the day, and how you perceive it is how you perceive yourself. So at the end of the day, it's about communication. And I used to joke with Eunice that I was joking with Eunice. In fact, one of the situation here is that we were talking about communication. Pardon my French, but I'm just going to say that communication is how you wrap shit in nice piece of paper and wrapping paper to give it to someone else who deserves it. Right? So if you think that someone deserves shit, you wrap it in a piece of nice looking wrapping paper and give it to the person. So the person open up, they don't feel that bad because it's really good packaging. So this is why I feel it's a good form of communication, giving constructive feedback to those people who deserves it, who needs it. Yeah, Eunice is laughing. Yeah, so it's not how we say. Yes, it's not what we say, but how we say. And it's to achieve the kind of outcome that we want to convey, that kind of message. Yeah, and that's my metaphor. Yeah. Nick, what do you think? You throw me this question.
Basically, for me, right, I think also, like what Frederick mentioned, NLP raise quality questions. For example, you ask yourself, what do you want? Okay, and then you answer in the way of a positively. Okay, for example, how do you want to do that example? So basically, this is a way to have a greater self-awareness of yourself, and then deeper understanding about yourself and how and why we want to do the way we want to do, as mentioned by Frederick just now. So that's the reason why we need to have a reframing yourself to ask and to say certain words. For example, even sometimes like you just say apologies to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. Example, instead of saying sorry, I'm late, right? You just say like, thank you for waiting. You know in my order in the latest day in my SQ flying, this is how we are taught like not to say sorry instead of saying the positive side on this. So basically, let's say thank you, please and thank you. Basically, it's okay. That's what we are trained of. Basically, yeah. So basically, how instead of using okay, I'm so sorry, I'm very so sensitive. You should not say that. You just say thank you for accepting me the way I am. You know, sometimes
Nice.
you have to, yeah, you just have to use the correct words, the correct language. It's good for other people to hear. It's good for you to feel good as well. So in terms of we apply NLP and you do some in terms of your art of reframing the questions and yourself, it helps because sometimes our mind, right? We want like what you say just now, Freddy mentioned how you want to perceive how you've been thinking. So you need to think wisely how people want to perceive who you are basically. Yeah. So this is how we need to learn how to reframe certain words and apply ourselves for people as well. Yeah. So NLP just not necessarily just mirroring, or I'm staying here, I'm talking you the way I need to reply the same way, not too high, not too low, that kind of thing. In terms of volume, in terms of your voice tone, basically, yes, it is applied like that. However, you also need to use a proper words, I would just say. So always get yourself prepared.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself prepared in terms of when you are in a conversation with a person and you want to apply an NLP on that? I'm asking for an NLP practitioner.
Are you trying to say that when you are getting prepared to do a speech or to do a pitch to a person or to a mass group of people?
To a person.
To a person. So
Yeah.
how is this person like? Is this person somebody like a big shot or anything like that? And somebody who you want to present it to is a life and death kind of thing? Like yeah, it's either make it or break it.
Maybe let's say a simpler one. Maybe you are in a group of people, you know, and then you try to talk to this person. Wow.
Right. How do you prepare yourself? So if you are nervous about it, if you're really nervous about it, what you can do is before you meet the person, okay, you do some form of relaxation exercise first. And I think that is what I would do because I had to calm myself down. So to calm yourself down, you have to sort of close your eyes. And, when you have the time, you can actually practice this on your own because what you do is that you find a safe spot where you can actually be alone by yourself. Close your eyes. If you're sitting down, make sure your feet is on the ground, both feet on the ground so that you can be grounded, you stay grounded. And what you do is that you lay yourself like sitting straight. At the same time, when you sit straight, right, you make sure that you position yourself in a comfortable manner. Okay, and you close your eyes and you do your visualization exercise. Yeah, and so through the visualization exercise, what you do is you imagine a scenario, take yourself back to a time where you were the most confident, where you felt the most confident, you felt the most positive, you felt that everyone listened to you and that your words carries weight. So you bring yourself back to that time and imagine that scenario that you are living in, that you're at, and put yourself in that scenario. And when you put yourself in that scenario, what you do is that you liven the scenario up, you intensify. And how you intensify is that you throw in colors, and the color intensity you have to adjust. So however way you want to adjust, make it more brighter, make it more intense, make the color more vibrant. If the sound is there, if there is a sound that you're hearing, make the sound louder. And if there's a feeling there, you feel exactly what you feel, make the feeling more intense. If you're feeling more confident, make the feeling even more intense. Everything is going through your mind. And if you're using that, if you're rehearsing that in your mind constantly, consistently during that period of time when you're alone, do that for about 10-15 minutes and repeat that. And every time you repeat it, what we can do is that the additional step that you can always do, you clench your fist. You know, when you clench your fist, when you clench your fist, you feel the kind of intensity, right? As you clench your fist, you feel the intensity going up. Imagine that you have a barometer in front of you. So it's the barometer that's going up, up, which is like 100 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees Celsius. So imagine yourself clenching your fist, and every time when you clench your fist, when you keep your fist clenched, you notice the little barometer in front of you just shoots up gradually. So every time when you clench your fist, it intensifies. And each time it intensifies the scenario in your head, the time when you are most confident, the time when you are most, positive about yourself, it intensifies and it increases in terms of its level, its volume, and its intensity. And when you do that, every time you clench your fist, it spikes up that feeling and it makes you more confident and more intensified in terms of how you feel about yourself, that positive emotions. And with that, you can just tell yourself every time you clench your fist, it intensifies. So after the exercise, what you do is that you test it. All right, you test it and you calibrate it, and by squeezing your palm, right? Just squeezing your hands, just gently squeeze your hands and feel the increase in the level of positive emotions inside of you. And that's how you do it to get prepared. So it takes a little bit of a practice to rehearse it again and again and again, is to take yourself back into that scenario, the time when you feel the most positive about yourself, the time when you felt that everyone listens to you and your word means something, right, to someone. And that is one good way to practice, one good way to use this technique. I call this anchoring, and I also call this a form of what we call the ring of power. There's something that I facilitate in my coaching session as well. So some of you who are curious to find out more, you can always get in touch with me, because the ring of power, I'm not sure if any one of you have actually heard of that, but the ring of power is what I use in the coaching session. It's a form of a mega anchoring technique in NLP. It's meant to hype up your positive emotions, to make you more and more hype up for public speaking. And some of you who are afraid of public speaking, you can actually do this exercise together with me. And that is something which I also do. All right, over to you, Nick.
Yeah, that's like what you mentioned about the technique, right? Mine also got a few techniques.
Sure.
But is it, I think like mentioned about Frederick already mentioned anchoring. So you under the anchoring, right? You must also remember to breathe properly. Okay, establish your own inner calm and your thinking, as well as thinking of when you're breathing. And your eye, right? Very important is notice the cue. So how your eyes look at the person, or how it shows the sincerity of the person, or how, let's say for example, right, when people ask you a question, you would think, then your eyeball would move up or move left. So whether you are telling a truth or you're telling a lie. So basically in terms of NLP, right, there's a certain way of like you're telling a truth or telling a lie. So maybe you need to be prepared of all these questions when they ask you. And we mentioned to you just now about the mirroring, right? Yeah, this kind of meta mirroring. So like certain tone, that kind of thing. And please, like I mentioned by Frederick, your pacing and your reading, you need to balance out. Yeah, that's all.
And you know how to get a murderer to confess his crimes? You know how to get a murderer to confess his crimes?
Maybe we can ask Frederick. Maybe we can ask some of the
So guys, how do you get a murderer to confess his crimes?
Vijay, maybe like Vijay, Dylan Kumar, you'd like to, sorry to interrupt you. Maybe like to share with us a point of view of NLP, if you don't mind. Vijay?
Wait a minute. Nick, we are talking about how to get a murderer to confess his crime. So I thought it'd be more challenging and interesting to find out from other people's point of view how they do it. Because if you're interrogating someone who has murdered someone or has committed a crime, and they say, I don't know, what is your response?
My response?
There's one technique in NLP that you can never go wrong with this, because they will get them to confess straight away.
Whether you're telling the truth or you're telling a lie, is it?
Doesn't matter. Even if they try to lie their way by saying, I don't know, not me, how will you get them to confess their crime? What do you think, guys? It's open to the floor, guys.
Anybody? Claire? Kai?
Eunice? No? Anybody? Ushana?
Anybody want to give it a try?
It looks like people are thinking.
Okay, maybe I can give you all a question. Okay, I'm going to ask this scenario.
Okay.
I don't feel that I look beautiful, and I don't have a positive image in myself. I do not have the confidence. This is the way of how you bring down yourself. Okay, what you should do, or what you should say? Anyone of you like to push, to boost yourself up? to ensure that.
We talk about that later, but Nick, we answer your question first, lah, okay? Because my question is very, very tough. I think so, because people don't seem to be responding. Either they're thinking very, very hard, or they just don't know what to say.
So basically, right, the answer is, no matter what, whether you are pretty or not pretty, or handsome or not handsome, you just have a very, say, I'm very unique in my own way. You must just always think of that way. Think of this word unique. So basically, everybody have your own, how say, for example, a picture plays a thousand, Frederick, say, 1,000 point of view, basically.
Picture
right?
Picture yourself in a scenario.
No, a picture says 1,000 words, is it? Or some?
Yeah, picture paints 1,000 words. Yeah, that's
paints 1,000 words, right? So basically, right, you can see you got 1,000 way of thinking of how do you look positively. Yeah, and you feel good. So by then, right, you feel more confident. Yeah, worth 1,000 words, yeah. Yeah. So basically, in terms of your impression of a person, also you must also project a positive mindset, the person you're talking to. Yeah. Okay. So Frederick, what challenge question you want to ask them?
I already asked. Nobody.
You already asked. Nobody too shy to ask.
Okay, so I can reveal it if you all are okay. If you're okay, I can reveal it. Like how you get a murderer to confess his crime. I think when you interrogate someone or anybody, in fact, not just a murderer, but you sort of like.
Sorry, I answer in the remark.
Can.
Is it
question too difficult? Okay. For you, self-defense. Wait, self-defense as in what you use self-defense? How do you apply that? Because I don't understand.
So when a person become a murderer, it's actually trying to defend ourselves from being murdered.
Yeah, correct. But how do you break through that defense? Because he's trying to defend himself and saying, "Oh, I don't know who is it, not me." But how do you answer back to get the confess? At least say a few words.
Mama, you want to give it a try?
This one, I think the CSI are trained in it. Yeah. So if any one of you are police officers, I'm not. Yeah, but any one of you are trained in it, right? Well, you will know the answer. Oh, don't go and text the retired police officer. What's his name?
Oops.
Yeah.
Anybody want to try to answer Frederick's question?
Okay,
yeah, Kai is laughing. So Kai, you're laughing. So basically, can you want to say something? I think so. Everybody just don't dare to answer the question.
No, there's no right and wrong answer.
Yeah,
right and wrong answer, in fact.
We are just sharing, basically, in terms of how we wanted to answer so that you don't be murdered. Yeah, in terms of having, other than just having self-defense, right? Okay, how you defend yourself?
Now, how you break through the defense? That's the thing. Because a lot of people, like for example, like law enforcers, right? In the past, not now, but in the past they use force, right? Force, and they beat the person up. But I don't think they use that now. They have a very, very good technique, and this technique is what we call in NLP presupposition technique. Have you heard of that? So presupposition technique works like that. So if you ask a person and say, "Oh, are you the one who murdered? Who murdered this fellow? I don't know, not me." Okay. Suppose you know who murdered. Who do you think it is? Suppose you know. Yeah. So it's like in sales, when you ask someone and a question, like let me think of a example. Like Nick, have you actually experienced have you ever experienced a time in your life when you are trying to persuade someone?
That means you want to ask someone to make sure that the person will do it, is it?
Yeah, correct. Something like that.
Yeah. So when you apply presuppositions, right? So normally, right, you must have the resources, and then that you have, and then you want to make the changes that you want. So positive for me, right? I think, for example, our mind and body works sometimes differently, sometimes work togetherness. Sometimes depends on whether you communicate your body and that kind of thing. So it helps. For example, like what Frederick say, you need to persuade someone. So you need to actually influence others.
Okay, so in sales, right, this thing called money transaction. There's this problem with money transaction is that when people start asking you, whether you want to buy the product.
Oh,
And and there's always this technique that I realize that a lot of salespeople will use. That's called the presupposition technique. How they do it is that when the customer just say, I don't think I can afford, or say, I see how, I consider it, things like that. And when you ask further, like what would make you consider buying, and what would make you consider, taking up the offer and this and that. So they'll give all sort of excuses. And one of them is perhaps I don't have the money, like I don't have the resources right now. So the presupposition technique that will get them to participate and to answer you is, suppose if you have the money, right? Suppose if you have what it is right now, right? Imagine, which is quite true. Imagine that every month you have 250 in your pocket. You have it right now, right? Right? I believe you have, right? Because you get 250 in your pocket every month, right? So suppose if you have 250 every month, you pay 250 to attend this course, for example. Yeah, you have, right, every month. Yeah, don't tell me you make less than 250. So suppose you have that resource, right? So do you think you can afford it? Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say here. Because if they say, yes, I can afford 250, then you say, yes, exactly. So my cost thousands of dollars, but if you can afford 250, I'm going to make this special for you, because 250, I'm going to make it every month for you. So if every month you can diligently pay and diligently study with me and be in this program, I'm sure you can do it. Can you? This is one way. This is one way. There are many ways to address any objection or dealing with stuff. So what do you think, Nick? Or what do you think, anybody?
me, I think it's more about be sincere to the person. Everybody knows that when it comes to money, right? It's a no joke question.
Of course.
Basically, right, everybody have their own things, their own thing. Of course, you need to put aside some money in, and also, right, we want to see whether it does work and it does benefit you a lot. That's important. I will not ask you to all these things basically, but in terms of the question, how you want to put it, right? This is very important, so that your client or your prospect or your thing, you need to break it down to like Kai is saying. Basically, you need to break down the value and to make them know the value, the importance of it. Yeah,
that is only when, I think, that goes before the whole negotiation. Because you need to share the value first. So I agree with Kai, because you have to share the value. So until you finish the value, right, you give tons and tons of value, imagine, and the client still say, oh, I consider, wow, at that time, right, you will feel, oh my God, I share like 1 hour, 2 hours of value, but the client's not taking it. Can you imagine that? If you're in that shoe, right, you'll be like, my saliva is almost wasted. But the fact that you break it down and you make them need it, but at the same time, the presupposition only comes in at the end, when you want to, get them to see that, hey, you can actually afford it. You have the resources, because people will give a lot of excuses to evade the cost of, paying upfront. Because paying upfront, I agree, paying upfront is really very, very painful. A lot of money, 4 digits, 5 digits, whatever, But if you can break it down and say, hey, you can actually afford it every month or every week. It depends on how you want it. So you can afford it every month. Let's say if I'm gonna I'm gonna break it down every month for you, and you just focus on every month, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. It's to make it affordable for them, yet they can actually attain that, in fact. And and if you use that, suppose that they can afford it, which they can, do you think that they would still take the offer? And it really depends on their needs and their motivation, really. And the rest is all up to them, because sometimes, they can come up with tons and tons of excuses. This is not the only one. Yeah, it's like, oh, my mother needs my money because my mother is sick. For example, it can come with any kind of things, Yeah, most clients tend to sign up immediately because it's number below their intention. That's my experience. That's true. If they feel that the value is there, and if they feel that, they sign up immediately, they need that. But if those are sitting around, on the fence, so sometimes they may not be the more committed one, I feel. So I think that is quite true also, and I agree with Vijay on that. Yeah. sitting on the fence kind of clients may or may not, but they are the ones who you will spend a bit more time persuading or negotiating with them to make them see slightly more value, and also, to get them to to come to a better conclusion, because some of them, they might want to do their research, right? So if they say that if they want to do their research on other people's branding, let's say you want to go for other people's classes or whatsoever, then you can probably, I think, ask them what research they've done so far. Maybe you just can get them to share. Okay, so it's like, okay, so I hear that you would like to take a look around and all that. Have you done your research so far? What do you think of other places and stuff like that, just to hear them out on the market price. What do you think of the price that people are offering? How do you feel about the price that they are offering from other places? And what do you think about the value that they are giving so far? Just try to dig deep into the things that they have gathered and learned, and to see whether you can supplement that with the value that you have as well. And I think that's what I'll do. But Nick, just hearing from you.
That's why I say NLP is a very important, I would say very important. We can apply on this in terms of how we speak and how we actually educate ourselves, and as well as we self-educate other people as well. What I mean by self-educate, right? End of the day is how they want to perceive us and how we want to perceive them as well.
Yeah, and most importantly, in doing business, ethics is very important. It's basically insincerity is one, but it's how you do it is a matter of your heart. I think that's a really, really important thing, because you don't, like what some people say, cannibalize your offer. I think Eunice would know how to explain that, but cannibalize your offer is like how do you put it, Eunice? I don't know how to explain it.
Well, cannibalize your offer, which means that you actually worth way much more. But the thing is, because you put your offer out there slightly lower than what you usually charge, so basically your main offer, what is so much more worth than it is, basically you're putting yourself down. You're selling something below the market rate that you are you're meant to fetch that kind of number. Yeah, that's why there's high ticket closers, right? High ticket closers actually close at higher rate is because they don't cannibalize their offers. That's why they have ascension model. That's why they have the small ticket, the medium ticket, and the high ticket. So that is always something to buy for someone, rather than selling the one offer that you cannibalize it, that you cut it short because you want to sell that one particular offer. So it's always great to have more than one offer where you place it into 3 or 4, so everyone actually has something to buy as an option.
I see. Thanks for the explanation. And I think that some people actually sell their services really affordable, or I wouldn't say cheap, but really very, very affordable, to the sense where everyone can afford it. But at the same time, after that, they actually supplement another thing that is about the same, but another program that's about the same nature, same value as well, similar, but this time they charge higher. Is that also considered cannibalizing?
Well, it depends on your strategy though, and also the timing. Like if you're pitching for different crowd, different audience, if you have a very special offer for them, you want to make them feel extra special. That is the value that you're giving out. So it goes back to the strategy. Like, how would you bring that up again in the near future? Or is it possible that you bring back the value up to the same group of this kind of audience in the future? If the answer is no, which means you're cannibalizing yourself. If it's a yes, you have a strategy that you can, throw in more bonuses, like things that people will say no to. And actually it equates back to, you can actually put back the price tag that it was before, and then we've thrown in a way much more offer that people could say no to. So basically, they see it as you giving way more value for the same price that you gave them. That's a strategy that may work, that you do not cannibalize the offer. So it always goes back to your strategy and how you want to market it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Eunice. And we have a comment from Vijay. He said, before meeting, I tend to send documents, or rather documentation, beforehand, and ask them to get back to me the unclear part on the documentation. This is how I prep them before pitching. Cool. Found this working with educated clients. Yeah, cool.
Actually, it's not more to, it's a more as a practice. Vijay, thank you for doing all these things and sharing with us. It is a practice in terms of business etiquettes.
Yeah.
We apply, and before we meet up with them, we always like, okay, what should we talk about the meeting? And then we should talk about how you want to do that. So certain things, like in terms of your meetings, right, you need to plan ahead, and so that the meetings were worth it, basically. So they don't waste of time. What should we ask, or what should we discuss? That kind of thing. So in terms of this is more of the business ethics, that, oh, we should do this, we should do that, and then and this is how the works, and the way how business should do, and how we should do, so that nobody's wasting anybody's time. My time is money.
Yeah. And I think he also has another previous comment. He said, clients who are keen but wanted to ask, think of how much they wanted to invest after discussing with their spouse and all that. So I replied, what number is comfortable for you? Yeah, it's true. I mean, sometimes you can ask them what are they comfortable paying and stuff like that.
Can I ask a question? But I'm not, not to say, okay, I'm confident with $1. So basically, like, oh, I was like,
you can just take that also, because if people say, oh, I'm comfortable with $1, then you can ask them, okay, so what makes you think that what I am giving you, the value that I'm giving you, is worth $1? Why do you think it's $1? So you throw back the question at them. You ask them, hey, why is your values worth this much? I wouldn't say this little, but this much. $1. Seriously, I'm giving you, all that I'm giving you is $1, and I'm actually sharing with you an hour and 2 hours of worth of information, and it's worth $1. Are you sure about that? So it's true. I mean, yes, Vijay, I agree with you. You get them to say the yes set techniques. I think yes question is a very commonly used one. That's very cool. When you use the yes set is also very NLP. It's very NLP. The yes set is actually what we call the conversational hypnosis technique. So conversational hypnosis, one of them is the yes set question. You get people to say yes, 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 yes. And then later on, when it's a no question, you get them to say yes at the same time. So at the end of the day, they'll still say yes. So it's like, it's something very, very interesting, and it's practiced all over the world. And so it's nothing new. But I guess people are kind of immune to it. Like people like me. Yes, I purposely yeah. So people get immune to it over time. So at the end of the day, it's how you modify, how you innovate and modify the technique to negotiate. Because in negotiation, there's going to be a lot different ways of how you negotiate your way as well. And then certain types of techniques are very, very commonly used. We might want to avoid that in due course, because people are going to be immune to it. Like how people on the internet are immune to ads.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like you show ads more than twice, people complain with you. There was one guy who got complained because people are seeing him everywhere, more than 3 times, 4 times a day. And he was flagged out on social media, on YouTube. People are complaining on YouTube. Goodness. His private life was dug out because of that. And I'm like, oh, poor soul.
Oh, I think Vijay got a question for you.
Yes, people are aware of mirroring technique. Yes, of course, Vijay, I agree with the mirroring technique. It works. It really works. But of course, if you do it very obviously, people will know.
But you try not to so mirror that you become a parrot. So, yes. But sometimes it's good to have become a parrot a little bit. It's more like you reply, say a person asks a question, you paraphrase it back so that people know that you are listening. So in terms of that, right? Do you mean by you ask me this question? Okay, then you answer. So the people, when you do that, right, it gives you time to think of the answer. Sometimes when you rephrase your question, so sometimes people, it's the same thing when you go for interview, basically, right? That's how you think you do not know how to answer it exactly on by 2-3 seconds. You paraphrase, and then you ask this question, and your mind keep thinking of the answers really. So basically, it's good to have that. So that's what I mean by we need to pace. We need to have your pacing of your
exactly.
Yeah. It's how you pacing. Yeah. It's called pacing.
That's another technique in NLP, pacing. It's about pacing your client, pacing your student. You make sure that every customer or every client that you serve, you pace them. When you're teaching, if you're an educator, you pace your students. If you're a coach, you pace your coachee, because not everyone is operating at a fast pace. Not everyone's operating at a slower pace. Everyone has their time. So there are time to sow seeds in them. There are time not to sow seeds in them. It's for them to reflect. It's their time to explore. I love to do this in my coaching, whereby I don't spoon feed every single coachee with information. I don't throw them information. I ask them to go and look and study and go and do their self-study and research themselves, because will serve them better if they do their own homework. Because if we throw them and we give them the fish, they are not going to learn how to fish.
They don't know how to go fishing. They just have to catch the fish.
And going fishing easy lah. Just pay a cab lah. Pay a cab driver and just go fishing, but you don't know how to fish.
You know how to fish? Go to supermarket. Right. Okay, I think Vijay got more question. It was like more of the following lingo and speech lingo. Example, some like to use la a lot and some will use more bombastic words. Does this mode of mirroring technique works well? Okay, maybe I'll ask the NLP practitioner to answer this.
But you are also one what? Wow, you guys are arrow people at VP. VP, I know you. Arrowing people only. Okay. The lingo and all that, like some like to use la a lot. It doesn't really matter. The la's and the laws, these are Singlish, and bombastic words doesn't really matter. But bombastic words, if it's not comprehensible by layman, it's going to be quite tough. So it's good to keep things more concise and simple. If you are using la's and laws, it doesn't really matter all these words, because mirroring, when you want to mirror someone, you don't follow their speech, you don't follow their pace, you just look at their body language. I think mirroring is more towards their body language, what they don't say rather than what they say. But if you're talking about a lingo that they use, what's the intention behind the lingo? Is there some intention? Is there a purpose why they use certain words, or is there a purpose why they say certain things? Because mirroring, like I mentioned earlier, mirroring, it doesn't mean following a person exactly, like being a parrot, right? Don't become a parrot. That's a good one by Nick. It's not about being a parrot and imitating somebody, like the coffee they drink, or the clothes they wear, or the taxi that they board up to, that they take, or the plane that they take. I don't know. It's not about the it's not about the exterior. Yeah, it's not about what they do, but rather within themselves. Like, it's about the interior, is what they believe in, is what they strategize, is the tactics that they use, the techniques, the strategies, the mindset. So mirroring the mindset is much better than mirroring the exterior behavior. You can mirror the exterior behavior, like that hand gestures or anything. That is to make the person like you better. Like if you're going on a date and if the person starts to, fiddle with their own like face here, you can also mirror them by doing this same action, just different hand is fine. That is also one way to make a person like you better, because you are mirroring them rather than you are mismatching them. So in NLP, to mismatch a person is to make the person dislike you further. Okay, if you want somebody to dislike you who wants to cut off a conversation, you want to cut a conversation off in networking, don't feel like talking to this person, what you do is that you mismatch the person. You just do something opposite of what the person is doing. So that is how you do a mismatching technique to get away from the situation that you're in.
Yes.
Someone that escape.
So
you make a person change the subject.
Yeah. For example, right? Let's say you're talking to someone from British or Australia. Oh, Mike, how are you doing today? That kind of slang or that kind of essence.
Yeah.
So don't you think so? You need to reply the same way. No,
You don't
just
have to.
be professional. Don't just this English is good enough. Sometimes
Like
you don't
if
just be
you go back
yourself.
higher,
Yeah,
because if you slang like them, hey, how do you do? It sounds very weird. And then when it sounds very weird, you're mismatching instead of matching. Yeah, so that's going to be even more like, it's even worse, right? You're making a situation even worse and more awkward. Yeah, so it takes a little bit of an EQ there also.
Yeah, so just kidding. In terms of the essence, just be natural. Be if you're Singaporeans. I mean, sometimes we all speak. Sometimes we put a little bit of la, a little bit low. Sometimes it's excusable for them. I mean, because we are based on that. However, for them, right? Oh, are you speaking good English? Are you speaking better English? Of course, we need to project the way how if you're talking about $10 million of projects. Of course, you don't speak the la and low la, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on who you want to mirror. Like if you meet a client, right, who dresses up like coat, blazer and all that, you jolly well end up in coat and blazer when you're meeting that person, is to mirror the person in terms of the dress code and everything. You don't go and meet a person in blazer, but you are turning up in t-shirt and jeans and shorts, even worse in slippers. Right? You don't do that because you are not mirroring the person, you're mismatching a person, you're making the person dislike you. And if you want to dress up for a certain occasion, you are matching the occasion, you're mirroring the occasion, also the same thing. But if your client is a rich client who turns up in t-shirt and bermudas and slippers, then you just turn up in casual. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to be so formal. If you turn out to be so formal, it's going to be very awkward, right? You're mismatching already. So that is how you mirror. I think the dress code is the best way to mirror. The dress code, the body language is the best way to mirror, not the language, not the lingo or anything like that. Yeah, so the mirroring part is important as well in NLP, and along with like reframing. Yeah, so one thing is about reframing is about how how you actually create a different language for yourself, in terms of how you self-talk, how you talk to yourself. So just now I just mentioned about the exercise. I think we can do one particular exercise. So one particular statement that a lot of people would use is things like, for example, if you're successful, right? I don't deserve this success. I just got lucky.
Wow.
How do you reframe this?
Anyone from the floor? Anyone from the room? Anyone from Facebook?
I think I'm going to share the screen here because this is just one question to just go about here. This is a very common mindset. I think people are afraid of success. They're also afraid of not just setbacks, but they're also afraid of success. But when it's time for them to get the limelight, I don't deserve this success. I just got lucky only. This is something which is going to hinder them as well. A lot of us as well, if you're having this mindset, because we don't deserve this. We're thinking we don't deserve this, we don't deserve that. So how do you like reframe this? We have one in the chats. Oh.
Anchoring.
What statement do you say? Because this is a statement that you talk to yourself. Your brain actually tells this statement to yourself, like, I don't deserve this success, I just got lucky. And a lot of times this doesn't mean that you're actually talking to yourself, but your brain automatically sends this message to your subconscious mind. And when you have this kind of thing going on in your brain, what is the reframed sentence that you can use to correct this? Chase the vision and the money will follow. Looks like it's working. Awesome. Thank you, Vijay. That is one. Anyone else? There's no right or wrong answers, actually.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
I don't deserve this success. I just got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the resources within you. Yeah, that's cool.
No, the answer is for me, right? I am in control.
I am in control. Yeah. we have that. Okay, so what we have is that we have I'm just going to write the response here. Chase the vision, and you have the resources within you. I am my own creator. Awesome. Yep, I am my own creator.
Okay. I control my life. I'm the controller. So basically, what else? Anybody else? Luciana? Claire?
There's so many ways to reframe this.
Muhammad, no? Kai? You can type it out. Don't worry, no need to answer. Just type into the chat. Anyone?
This is my answer. I put time and my achievement. Luck may play a role, but it's my effort and dedication that brought me here.
Yeah, this for him is very long game.
I deserve this.
I deserve this. Okay, yes, good.
I deserve this.
Yes. Hi. Muhammad, no. Type something. Claire?
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Oh, nice one.
Actually, the answer also, I work hard for my success. So it just say that how the determinations of yourself and you work hard and you for your success. So it's like you know how to achieve it and you want to strive for more. So basically it's something like that. You need to actually do that also. Yeah. Okay. I think we're
gonna wrap up soon.
Yep.
And of course, that is awesome sharing here.
That is when preparations meets opportunity. Wow.
That is when preparation meets opportunity. I so agree to that, Vijay. Preparation meets opportunity. That's the thing. A lot of us, we have opportunity, but a lot of them are missed opportunity. Yeah, tenacity, awesome. Tenacity is important too.
Yeah, Muhammad, no, thank you. Tenacity.
Yeah, great. Awesome sharing tonight, and thank you everyone for your great participation. Really appreciate that, and we're just having fun here in the new talk show. And yeah, Yeah, you're most welcome, Vijay. Always happy to share my experiences and all that I've learned throughout my life as a living person. Yeah. So Nick, you want to do the closing?
Okay, thank you everyone for coming and sharing with us. And this is what we do for the new you, and we giving values, and we share. We talk to certain topic on, and then we share the topic, and then we also do have some speakers coming on our show and also discuss on the topic. And yeah, we look forward to talk to you again on the next week for every Thursday. Come on Thursday night at 9 p.m. with us. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you guys.
Have a good night, rest.
Night rest. Bye.